Hello, Tara with another Crafting with Curly Cues video for you. Today I am going to do a quick card using the September Simon Says Stamp card kit. So I am starting with the really cute stamp set from that card kit, as well as this background that I made while I was doing some experimenting with my Zig Clean Color Real brush pens. So I'm not actually going to be making the background in this video, obviously, but if any of you have any interest in how that background was made, just go ahead and leave me a comment. I'd be happy to chat with you about it, or even maybe I'll make a video in the future with this background technique. So I am taking the solid balloon from that Birthday Bits stamp set that came in this stamp kit from Simon Says Stamp, and I am stamping a few of those in some distress inks. So you can see that I am stamping them twice. This is watercolor cardstock that I'm stamping them on, and the reason I'm stamping them twice is because distress inks do not typically leave a very solid image because they are super water based. So when you kind of get that first one, you don't get it really solid and full. So I am just stamping right back over the top one more time with those colors. For the look I'm going for this card, I kind of want it to be artsy and loose, so I'm not super stressed if it's not super solid or if I don't line them up perfectly. That's okay too. The way this balloon is drawn, it's really like a doodle balloon, and I think it looks really neat with the crazy swirly color background that I'm using. So I have used peacock feathers, mustard seed, dusty concord, and then I'm going to do a little baby balloon in some picked raspberry. So that is what I'm going to do with all these distress inks. And then I'm going to use a neat technique that I actually saw on one of Jennifer McGuire's videos, and I will link to that video over on my blog post. And it uses perfect pearls to create a metallic finish look on top of distress inks. So in her video, she does it with a background, and I have used it on a background, and it's gorgeous and it works so well. It's crazy. So I wanted to see what would happen if I did it on a smaller image. So I'm taking the perfect pearls in just the pearl color and applying a little bit over the top of the pink balloon and the blue balloon because I don't have coordinating perfect pearls colors for those ones. So I'm just going to use the regular one. And then I'm going to use this, I believe it's called Grape Fizz, that came in a different Simon Says Stamp card kit. It's like card kit day. Yay! And put that on top of the Dusty Concord balloon. I love this color. It is so pretty. It's just this really like, I don't even know. It's a very purpley purple. Like, isn't that just like when you think purple, that's the purple that pops into your mind. And then I'm going to take the gold perfect pearls and put them on top of that I forgot the color of that. Mustard seed. Excuse me. Wow. I was going to say spiced mustard, but that's not right. There's a spiced marmalade and a mustard seed. That is mustard seed. Put it on top of the mustard seed balloon. And now I'm just going to take a little piece of paper towel. And this is kind of the last technique that Jennifer McGuire shows you, is to then rub in those perfect pearls. And that's what leaves you with that really shiny, metallic-y finish. So I will tell you that when I did this with these individual images, the ink did smear. I'm going to cut these out so it didn't bother me. Just keep that in mind if you were going to use this technique on maybe a one layer card or something. So you can see when I picked those up how beautiful and shimmery those balloons became with those perfect pearls on top of them. I just really love this look. It kind of adds a little extra something to the project. So now I've got a sheet of vellum, which came in yet another Simon Says Stamp card kit. I am really just digging into the card kit supplies, which is awesome because I don't use nearly enough of the supplies. I make like one card out of each kit, and then I'm like, cool, I used the kit. And I move on because now by then my next kit has come. So I'm excited to be busting out some old supplies and getting them used. And now I'm taking the outline of that balloon and I'm stamping it around the balloon, the solid balloons that I stamped, as well as a few on the vellum sheet. I'm going to cut out some vellum balloons also. I wanted the background to be a really full balloons floating in the sky kind of background, but I also wanted to be able to see as much of that really crazy, colorful, it's like a totally trippy, ethereal, I don't even know. It just came out really bright and fun, and I wanted to be able to see that. So I decided that the vellum balloons would be a really good way to both fill my background and be able to still see what was there. So now I'm just going to fussy cut those balloons. I fussy cut around the line and around the color because sometimes the black line didn't line up perfectly with the solid color, and I thought it kind of left that artsy doodly look if I kind of cut around all of it. And then the vellum ones have just a little strip of vellum on the outside. So now I have some leftover silver shimmer paper, and I dug into my die cut box and I found my mama elephant, lots of stars, and then some random other star die cuts from a company I'm not sure where they came from, but I had them, so I die cut a bunch of stars out of that silver paper, and while I was at it, I took a Scripty Thanks die. Again, I'm not sure what company that's from, I apologize, but there's lots of amazing Scripty word dies out on the market to choose from, and I cut that 3 times out of some Nina Solar White, and the reason that I did that 3 times is that I'm going to layer these on top of each other to create almost like a chipboard sentiment. So it gives it some sturdiness and dimension to put on top of all of this crazy color that's going on in the background of this card. So you just use my Zig glue pen to apply some glue on the top of that first one, and I'm just going to carefully line up that second one. Using the liquid glue is really nice because you have that leeway to kind of wiggle and get things lined up perfectly before it dries all the way. And now I'm just going to write right on top of there with that glue, and I'm going to put the third thanks die cut on the top. And that just creates, like I said, a little bit more stability to the die cut. It's going to make it pop a little bit so that it becomes more of a focal point and really stands out. So you can see a little bit of the thickness there that you get from doing that. And you could layer as many of these bad boys on top of each other as you wanted to. So now I'm going to start assembling my card. So I just have a Nina Solar White A2 card base that is side folding, and I'm just going to use my ATG gun to pop the watercolor Zig color panel on the front. I did use a Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle die to cut the background panel down to be the exact size as the front of a A2 size card. I will tell you guys just a little bit about how I created this background. I basically just took a whole bunch of different colors of Zig markers and scribbled them on some watercolor paper, and then I just started spritzing. I was really just experimenting. I wanted to see what these markers would do as far as creating a background, how they would, be able to be manipulated with water and other sorts of things. So I scribbled a whole bunch of different colors, and then I spritzed water on top of them and just let them run and hit them with my heat tool. And then I did use some water flicking on top where I scribbled some more Zig clean color brush pen on the side and spritzed it with water, and I actually used water that had perfect pearls in it, and then I picked that up with a paintbrush and just kind of flicked it onto the background, and I have some other videos where I do that same technique. But that's how I created that background, and that's why you see some of the cool shimmer in the background too, is because I mixed my water with perfect pearls. So I figured the perfect pearl balloons would be a good coordinate with this background. So now I've just kind of arranged those balloons where I want them, and now I'm going to start adhering them. So you can see on these vellum balloons, I'm putting just the teensiest little dot of Zig glue on the back, and I'm just going to adhere that with that tiny little dot. And what I'm going to do later for these vellum balloons that don't have anything in front of them to hide that little spot of glue is I'm going to use those stars that I die cut as some embellishment, and I'm going to make sure that I put them on top of any of the exposed glue on those vellum balloons. So it really worked out as double duty of being super cool silver shimmery stars and also hiding any of the unsightly glue. I don't use vellum very much because I never know how to adhere it unless I know it's going to be behind something. I'm always at a loss as to how to get it to stick on the paper without being ugly. So I was pretty proud of myself that I decided to use these little stars as glue hiders. So now I'm just going to take a few of those stars and position them all over. I'm just going to scatter them, treat them like sequins, and just scatter them all over the paper. This silver shiny paper is really awesome. I did a whole card where I paper pieced a stamp using a bunch of different colors of these paper, and they're like crazy shimmery, and they're also pretty thin. Most glitter papers are really thick and like coarse, but this glitter is really fine, and I thought that it worked well with the perfect pearls here. So you can see there how I'm just kind of popping those stars all over the place, and I'll just continue to scatter some of those bigger ones along with some of those little teeny tiny ones that came out of that Mama Elephant die cut. So now I've got my last little star here, just get him in place, and now I'm going to put my sentiment on, and it's just going to sit right there in the middle of all these pretty floating balloons, nice and simple. Not a whole lot of stamping on this card. It was a very easy card to put together, a really fun card to conceptualize, because usually I do a lot of coloring Really tedious, super fun, but tedious stuff, and this one just came together really quickly. So I'm just going to trim off anything that's hanging off the edge to get that down to size. And the card is just about finished there. All I'm going to do now is take my black Jelly Roll pen, and I'm just going to freehand in some little curly balloon tails. And this was kind of an afterthought. I actually forgot, and it wasn't until I picked the card up and was like, why does it look so empty, that I was like, oh, I need tails. Well, here it became nice that I only glued those vellum balloons down with one little dot, because I was able to flip them up like you just saw and get the tails going behind, because you would be able to see through them and see the strings from the other balloons coming down. So I added little tails to kind of hang to all of those. I really love the way this background turned out. It was, like I said, it was just something I was playing with, and I wasn't expecting it to be something I would necessarily use later, but I was sitting on my desk, and this stamp set was sitting on my desk, and I was like, hey, that looks awesome. I'm really liking these balloons. I think I might use them as raindrops on another card. So anyway, there is the finished card. Nice and simple. Lots of shimmer and shine on this one. You can see a close-up of that background and the shimmeriness going on here. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please hit subscribe and give me a thumbs up. If you would like a full list of the supplies that I used, I have posted that over at my blog. You should also go join me on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Here's a couple other cards. The Nomi card uses some zig markers, and then the Lawn Fawn card I have here is just a nice, clean, and simple quick card. Thanks, guys. Bye.